Welcome to Let's Make a Game, Platformer, episode 34. In last episode, I've added some music and sound effects to the game. Today, I'd like to show you how you can use models that you can export from Blender or 3D Studio or any other modeling software and bring it into the game using libgdx. So, I would like to replace today the model for the player character that is at the moment using the images here, left and right, and instead replace it with a model file here that you can see in this folder here. We have model and a texture for it, and to do that, I'll of course create a new package in the model. It's gonna be G3D, and I'll have a class here. It's going to be similar to those components. We'll have G3D model component. Let me spell it correctly. Component. And in here we'll have a couple of getters, get model file, and also something I have to provide because scaling across different modeling environments is very different. So Blender uses different scales. So 1 is actually 100 in the units of libgdx. In 3D is another thing. So the model will have to also define scale for each axis. And maybe that's it for a moment. And we're gonna use the same event like in all the other model providers, which will be basically listening on the get model instance, and if an entity has this component, we'll provide a model that gets loaded from this. Okay, so let's maybe copy this, make G3D rendering system. We will not be loading anything from there. We'll most likely not need any of those. We'll need those, we'll need those. Okay, no need for this. We will have to destroy all the models that get loaded. And when something G3D model, get model file, if not model contains model file, we have to load it. And the way we load it is very simple. We use asset manager. And we pass the path to it, model file. We wait for it to be loaded. Now we have to specify the type here, it's a model. And once it's loaded, we do model equals asset manager get model file model class. And that's it. We just have to, okay, load it here. Okay, so we load the model and store it under the model file as a unique identifier in the map here. And then we create model instance for this specific entity. When the object is removed, we remove the entity, the instance for it, except for here. It's going to be just G3D model component. Okay. Okay, and in here, when we're going to be render, we'll specify these, and this is going to be for the G3D model instead. I will not provide this. Instead, the scale is going to be multiplied by whatever the model get scale x. And the same for y and z. G3D model get scales. Okay, so now I have to modify the player entity, the player prefab, sorry, to use this new component. So before it was using rendered with shape. Now instead we'll be using G3D model component, and the model file will be model/duke/duke G3DJ, and I have here scales that I already worked on before. Scale X is this one, scale Y is this one, and scale Z is this one. Okay, so let me see if it worked out. We don't need this anymore. Let me restart it. Because we don't need it to be flat anymore. We can just, this is a model which is completely 3D. Okay. We have a Duke model which is turning a bit weird. That is by default. We have here angle left between 180 and 0 because the model by default is facing us completely. Then rather than being 0 to be to the right, we have to provide different angles for movement rotations. Okay, so let's try this. It's going to be this or the flip version of these. Okay, apart from the fact that at the beginning it's facing the wrong way, it seems to be working fine. So we have a fully 3D. As you can see, the lighting is working correctly on it. We have a fully 3D model. Maybe I'll make it slightly thicker. So this is going to be Z scale. Let's have to figure out what works best. Okay, that works a bit better. Okay, yeah, okay, so I'm happy with this. But, well, that would be pretty short video. So what I'd like to also do, the model in here also has some animations that I'd like to use, and let me show you how to do it. So let's go with, in here, also create model G3D animation component, extends component, and the values here will have string get idle animation and string get walk animation. And also I'll provide speeds, get idle speed and get walk speed, animation speed. Get idle animation speed. So in here, what I'll do is if the entity has the G3D model animation component, so if animation component is not null, then I'll also create here animation controller. Animation controller is a class that allows you to specify which animation should be played on a model and also progress it over time. So model animations, and so this has to be done here. Model instance, because animation controller requires the model instance class, the instance of a model instance. That sounds weird. Okay, so animation controller, we pass the model instance to it. And finally, animation controller, no, that's it actually. No, I have to add it to the map there. Model animations, put entity animation controller. Okay, so now we have for each entity that has model and the animation, we have an animation controller in here. So I'll have to remove it here as well. Model animations, remove entity. And in here, I will need a timer. So inject time manager. And in here, I will get time since last update divided by 1000f, because animation controller uses seconds. And this, as you can remember, is milliseconds since the start of the game. So float seconds. And I'll do model animations get from entity animation controller. I'll separate these, result transform, because if animation controller is null, we start off with this this model location, this model transformation. Otherwise, we tell animation controller to one more thing I need to add here, which is animation plate, get plate animation and set plate animation. String. Okay, animation controller update seconds. Maybe I'll do it here. Okay, then we translate it, rotate it, and scale it. Okay, that looks good. So now I have to specify that this model actually has the player entity also has the G3D model animation component, and the values I need to pass are idle animation and walk animation. Idle animation, which is unfortunately called armature pipe idle. Walk animation, armature pipe walk. So let's make sure that everything works. At the moment, we don't activate any of the animations. I'll do it in a moment. Show you how to bind everything with keyboard controls and stuff. Okay, nothing is rendering. That's not good. Because I have to specify this always, I think. And if animation controller is not null, then I do this. Because the model has animation controller but doesn't have any animation activated, so it didn't really correct positioning of the model. Okay. Great. Okay, so now we have to specify when it should start animating the walk. So what we should do in the keyboard system at the moment, we have jump keys, we have light, left and right. So let's do in here entity send event, send, and this is gonna be in physics. Character walks. Yeah, character walks. Model walk. Model walks. Instance event. And another one, model idles. So send new model walks. The same for when we're moving left and right. And if we don't move left and right, it idles. You can also add another one. Model falls, for when model is falling, so no longer it's connected to anything, any surface. And we'll do it here. If it's not grounded, then we'll fire that entity send model false. So model walks, model idles, model falls. Okay, sure. Let's now in the G3 rendering system specify that if receive event public void object walks model walks and model walks, and it has to have the G3 model animation component. So if it does, what we do, we get model animations for it. No, first we get played animation. So if it's already walking, we don't have to do anything. So played animation. If played animation is not null and played animation not equals the animation get walk animation. So if either if it's equals to null, so if either no animation is played or the animation that is being played is different than the one that we so if no animation is played or animation is different than the walk animation in case of this model walks event, then we have to specify that the animation set played animation get walk animation. Maybe let me extract this. We do this, and then on the model animations we get the controller, and on animation controller we do animate. We specified the walk animation, specified how many times the animation should be played. So we can specify 1, 2, 3, and so on. And when you specify negative number, for example, -1, it's going to be looping continuously until it's going to be stopped or some other animation is going to be activated. And then here we want to have animation speed. We are not interested in the listener. And transition time, this is how long time it should take to transition from previously run animation, if any, to the new one. Let's say it's going to be 0.1 second. Because as I said, the animation is uses seconds. Okay, so we have this part. And now when model idles, G3D model animation, if it idles, we have to save it. Entity save changes. No, actually we want to save changes here. Yeah. Just need to make sure that we extract this before we save it. Okay. So we have idle animation here. Okay, that looks good. So we can do the one for false, but at the moment we don't have the full animation in the component here. But this could be added if your model has it, and it can be used. I didn't specify the animations. Or did I? I did, okay. So something, well, the animation is definitely there because, as you can see, the legs are moving. However, that is not what we want to have. Something is weird there. I think I have an idea of what is going on. Okay, so the problem was that by default the animation speed was 0 because it was not provided here. So I've modified the component to say that default is 1. And now whenever we play it, it's going to correctly animate, but a bit slow, as you can you'll see. Which is why I want to have these two properties that I can modify in there. So as you can see, the legs are moving. Okay, so now I need to modify the player component to speed up the walk animation a bit. So I'll have walk animation speed, let's say 2, so twice as fast. Let's see if it's going to work with the speed that we are moving at. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, that's it for this episode. Make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, link is in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye.